Hey there, guys. Welcome back to the channel. After four defeats in their last six league games, Chelsea are now in eighth place in the Premier League table, and the Athletic have reported that Frank Lampard's job as manager is under serious threat. To talk about that and much more, I'm joined by Chelsea Harper, who's a Chelsea fan and a sports writer for Sportsmole. Please subscribe if you're new to the channel, follow us on the socials, and let us know your thoughts in the comments below. So, Chelsea, thanks for joining us today. Now, Chelsea lost 3-1 at home to Man City yesterday at Stamford Bridge. Obviously, a disappointing result, but what were your thoughts on the performance overall?
Yeah, no, definitely very disappointing. I think when you look at it on paper, to say we lost 3-1 against Man City doesn't look too bad. But I think a lot of people are saying the scoreline sort of flatters us in a way. I think the main thing to take from this was how disappointing the performance was from the players. Probably apart from perhaps Christian Pulisic, every player on the pitch had a really disappointing performance. In particular N'Golo Kante as well, which is, you're in trouble if one of your best players is performing so poorly. And yeah, it was strange. We started first 10 minutes of the game, we started well, we started okay, but then on we just completely lost it. We lost our shape throughout the match, allowing Man City to come back in, and do some serious damage. And yeah, it just wasn't good enough. And I think even though some of our previous, performances and scorelines have probably been worse, talking about 3-1 loss against a struggling Arsenal side, I think this one was the turning point for many Chelsea fans. And basically last night, the fan base was completely, in turmoil.
Yeah, I can imagine. Even the win recently against the team Osport West Ham, that was 3-0 to Chelsea, and even that was flattering to Chelsea, I thought, as well. So even that win, that was pretty unconvincing as well. So, as I mentioned at the start, four defeats in the last six league games. So, what do you think's sort of contributed to the recent poor form?
It's tricky. I think some fans at the beginning would say, missing a few players, and in particular our wingers, Christian Pulisic and Hakim Ziyech being, out injured recently. It kind of showed you how much we relied on Hakim Ziyech in particular. But I think it was more so Lampard's sort of his refusal to change his ideas and, to change the sort of way he was playing and tackling games. Even though he had his wingers injured and stuff, he would continue to, play players on the wing who weren't wingers and that wasn't their position and stuff. And you kind of saw the consequences. And I think even, last night against City, rushing Ziyech back in so early when he clearly wasn't ready, I think that was another major issue.
Yeah, no, definitely. So you mentioned a couple of players there. I mean, some players have struggled to settle really, like Timo Werner being one, Kai Havertz, Ziyech with his injury problems. I mean, what do you put that down to? Do you put that down to Lampard, or is it just a strange season combination of a few things?
Yeah, I think it's a mixture of the two. I think it's a mixture of a couple of things. I think one of them is Frank Lampard. One of them is, of course, a strange season, and another one could be, them still getting used to the league, adapting to their new team, you know, how they gel with other players and things like that. I think the main one with Timo Werner was, of course, for the majority of the time he's been at Chelsea, Lampard has been playing him on left wing, which obviously isn't his preferred position. Be that because of injuries and because, we haven't had wingers available. But that's where he sort of played him for the majority of his time since he's joined Stamford Bridge. And I don't think that's fared him particularly well. And I think he's been quite unfairly judged when he's played off the wing. Because, even though he's played off the wing, even though he's only got 4 goals in his Chelsea career, I think, so far, and he hasn't scored in his previous 12 games, which obviously looks really bad on paper. But when he has played on the wing, he has provided assists. And I think I read something that he still had, 12 something like contributions since he's, started at Chelsea, and be that in the appearances he's made. So I think that's one of the things, playing him out as a preferred position, obviously still adapting to the league. Kai Havertz is a tricky one as well. I think when I watch Timo Werner play, you can see the type of potential he has. you know, in sort of like the work ethic he displays, and you can just see he has a real lack of confidence in his previous few games, which is affecting him. Whereas Kai Havertz, I feel like there's sort of a lack of energy and a lack of determination within him. But you could also put that down to him also not playing in his preferred position. You know, it's almost impossible to play both Mason Mount and Kai Havertz within one side, because Kai Havertz, you know, he strives so well almost as a false nine or in a number 10. Whereas the formation that Lampard plays in a 4-4-3 and always sticking with Mount, it's really hard to put them two both into the starting 11. So again, you could kind of put the blame on Frank Lampard in that sense, but I think it is a mixture of them, you know, still adapting to their new team, a really strange season, and also the decisions of the manager.
Yeah, sounds like struggles all around. So, do you think it's too early for Frank Lampard to be under pressure? Finished fourth last season with hardly any money to spend because of the transfer ban, or does it simply come with the territory of being a Chelsea manager under Roman Abramovich and the fact they've spent a lot of money in the summer?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. It's weird to sort of look at the two seasons so far and compare his, season 19-20 campaign compared to now, and to see how well he did when he took on this job that no one else really wanted to take on at the time because of the transfer ban, because of losing Eden Hazard, and because of obviously now COVID has happened. So he's kind of been drawn the shorthand, and seeing how well he did in the previous season, managing to get Champions League, which is beyond, I think, what anyone expected, was obviously a massive achievement. Obviously, you compare it now to now spending over 200, million in the transfer window and not being able to get better results than what he did last time round. So it is really worrying. I personally, in my opinion, I'd love to give him until the end of the season. But I think being as a Chelsea supporter and knowing how the club works, that's just not the case. That's not how it's going to turn out. And obviously you've seen the Athletic article, them talking about how talks have already started and things. So I think it's only a matter of time. And I think if they are giving him a chance, he'll have perhaps until the end of the month. And that's probably being quite kind as well.
There's been a number of managers who've been under pressure this season, especially at the top clubs. You look at Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at the start of the season, under pressure. Mauricio Pochettino was again linked with the United job, but he's turned it around. They're joint top of the league, level on points with Liverpool, Arsenal. Mikel Arteta, who's really under pressure. Now they've won 3 games in a row. They're only 6 points off the top 4 now. So, do you think that Frank Lampard has the ability to turn it around like those two managers have?
Yeah, I think if you would even have said about Arsenal being 3 points off of us a few weeks ago, no one would have probably believed it. So to see Mikel Arteta turn that, awful situation around at Arsenal and him doing that, it seems possible. And as you said, like, this has explained how weird the season has been. People were discussing about Ole leaving at the start of the season, and now look at him, he's like giving like Liverpool a run for their money. So I think it's really strange. I think, as I said, if Lampard can get some good results in January, like if he can get 3 wins on the bounce, that might take us up towards the top of the table again, and people will forget about this. You have people talking about who want Lampard out. A few weeks ago when he was doing so well in second place in the league, they were praising him so much. So it is strange. I think, obviously, depending on the results of the other teams, but if he can get a few wins in the bounce in January, I think perhaps this almost sticking form will be forgiven. But it's hard to see if he can do that yet.
Yeah, I have to see that in the next few games. So just finally, Chelsea, do you think Frank Lampard will still be Chelsea manager at the end of the season?
I really don't know. As I said, I don't think so. From at this moment in time, I don't think so. Although I'd personally like to give him until the end of the season to see how it goes. As I said, Chelsea don't really run in that way. And if he doesn't pick up good results in January, then he could be gone before the end of the month. And it's really worrying to see that, Athletic posted that article before the game had even concluded, knowing that they were looking for replacements before, the game had even taken place. So this has been going on for a few weeks now, and obviously that, I think we've conjured up 4 points in our previous 6 league matches, which is obviously just unacceptable, and it's the reason why we've dropped so far on the table. So if it continues like this, then no, I don't think it'll be Chelsea manager by the end of the season.
Oh, we'll see how it goes. Well, Chelsea, thanks for your time. We really appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
No problem at all. Well, thanks everyone for watching. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe to us. Follow us on the socials. Let us know your thoughts on whether Lampard will stay or go in the comments below. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.